Hey, another, well, you know. All right, revisiting an old jig. All right, my original trim jig in the Lyman, did was I took a 45 auto and a 22 Win Mag, and I drilled the 45 auto, and then I soldered the 22 Win Mag in, filed the end off, and then took the power adapter and the 22 Pilot, trimmed them down together to oh, what did I trim them down to now that I think about it? Yeah, about 0.7 or so, so I can still kind of get the little ones out fairly well. Some Hornadies have been trimming down to 0.905. I can still get a grip and pull them out. I found every head stamp seats to a slightly different depth where it stops. I've tried making these several different ways. Drop it in with the, just the head on and filing it off, trimming it to where these would just slide right through, putting them in, soldering them, flipping them around and cutting off, and they all end up working the same basic way. They always end up stopping. I guess the solder must swell it just a touch or something. I can't explain it, but it always seems to end up that way. Just a difference in how far before it bottoms out. Got one where it actually sticks out, but it still stops, even though that was the one where they would pass right on through before I soldered it together. Don't know what happened there. As it is, what I'm doing is I'm taking the chop saw, and the problem is I can never get it quite perfectly square. I mean, these things are a little janky. Every blade I've tried has got a little bit of weeble wobble to it. Even if it's not much, it's still there. Either that or it's the arbor. I don't know what it is, but some are really bad, some are not too bad. But so these always have a bit of an angle to them, however slight. I've gotten them really close, but things get knocked off, don't realize it, you got a bunch of them whacked out. So my thinking was, if I could take this and just take off the last few thousandths and square that up, maybe I could avoid the even on factories where the knee plate's got that, one bit is a little higher. Hoping to minimize that on these. With these, what that ends up with is the one side you'll see it is brass, and on the other side it's lead. It fills it out, evens it up, but one step closer towards perfection. Nothing's perfect, but hey, every step's a little bit. Well, this gets pretty annealed. What I did is I took needle nose and I pinched it kind of squared, so it's got a little bit of tension there to help, because these are just slightly smaller anyway. And put it in here and use that to, use the Pilot to square it up. Now, as I was okay, got a 17. It was good for denecking until it got to where the shoulder, and then even unannealed brass, it had a tendency to or a good propensity to distort them. Now we're dealing with annealed brass. What I didn't know about There's a lot of firearms I don't know about. Well, okay. I did is I was thinking, well, I wonder if there's any pilots that are kind of close to this. And I'm looking through Lyman's site, and I came across the 204 Ruger. And the pilot is just a touch bigger. But these are annealed, they'll stretch. And the thing is, even after stretching, it's not as stretched as the course eating punch. That stretches them a little more. So I'm hoping that all that will add up to, you know, to flatten me flat. Yeah, see how it goes. Originally I was thinking, okay, get it close, take just a few thou off, and you know, square it up pretty much. What I ended up doing was taking the cutoff saw, cutting it down to 5-10 thou over what I'm shooting for, and then using this to finalize it. Well, it's kind of interesting. Right now I'm testing out with the Hornadies, and every now and then one will come out 5,000 shy. Not many have done that, or maybe a couple thousandths over. Plenty acceptable compared to what I was finding on the 22 long rifle. So yeah, I'm guessing that these don't, even in the same head stamp, aren't always seating quite to the same depth. I am taking them while I'm in there, pushing them with my finger. Now, you got to be real light with this, or else these will spin. It's just, it's a friction fit, and it's not tight. You jam it in there just a little hard, and it'll spin it. So you go in nice and light, and it'll cut. So, I mean, it's working. They're coming out nice, squared up, looking a lot nicer. What was I gonna say? Oh, well, something else I was gonna say, but now to get this squared up, well, here I've got a different iteration of it. I think some of them I tried like that. What I did to get this centered, dropped it in that hole. I took a 243 and the 22 Win Mag fits in snug. So I used the shoulder to center it up while I soldered this. It worked really well. So, use what you got. And that worked out. So, what was I going to say? What was the other thing I was going to say? Yikes! I'll think of it. Well, one thing, like I said, the different head stamps seem to, I guess it must have to do with springback or case thickness or something, because I found certain ones are a little heavier than others. But they'll bottom out on this at different depths. So every time you gotta kind of adjust that for each head stamp. Well, of course, you work with the same head stamp, so it's not like constant guesswork. But yeah, little things. I was learning, little inventing, little creativity. Well, make these up for Elvis. I just sent some to Eagle Eye, but I made his up before I thought of this final squaring trim. So his don't have this. He's gonna try some long range, some gel. sent him some a small variety, you know, like 5 each of a few different weights. He'll try those 90 grainers in gel because he's only got 1 in 7, so they're not going to stabilize, but maybe we'll get a representation of what they'll do. It'd be interesting to see what that is compared to Elvis's 55 grain mushrooms. I'm really eager to see that. Yeah, we'll see. What I did, I sent him ones, you know, the odd ones that I made during this series. Yeah, like 90, 80, 75, 69. I don't know if I sent 65. You know, there's like 5 of them of each one that I made. Figure it out. So they're from different batches. They're slightly different, possibly. You know, different jacket lengths actually. So they are slightly different. So yeah, maybe he'll test them in gel. Maybe he'll who knows. I'm leaving that up to him. So see what we see. But yeah, one more step to, you know, getting the most out of these we can. And nothing's perfect, so yeah. But give it every chance I can. Figure as much time as I'm putting into these, what's a few more seconds? You know? Oh. Well, we'll see what happens. Alright. I'd throw that in there. Give you a little update. Alright. Have a good one. God bless. See you. Yeah, let's see. I like this one. 0.909. It'll probably end up somewhere between 0.905, 0.907, but it'll get squared out. What I'm doing is just putting it in there. I'm taking this is a little bigger. This will center it up. Tap it in there, seat it just a little bit more, but not the whole way. Now rotate it in to let it expand just that little bit easily. Yeah, it'll actually usually come right out on it, which at first I was wondering about, but well, let's see. 0.905. That's what I'm shooting for. Coming out anywhere between 0.90, which I'm putting in another pile. These are touch long because I'm wondering certain head stamps are heavier, so I may have to adjust depending. Still haven't quite found that perfect range like the 22 long rifles. They vary 8,000ths or so that I found, but they all work. For I think 52. I haven't tried those, but that's the range I'm led to believe, 52 to, you know, right up onto the soft point. So, but I have read people trimming them. So, yeah, I'm hoping to find what works best for these, but I haven't really put that much work into it yet. I've just found what worked for CCI, but they're lighter than these Hornadies and Federals, so I may find out with these. But yeah, let's see if it shows the difference in. I'm really not hardly seeing it with my eyes, so I'm doubting the camera will really show how much flatter this is, because right now the chop saw is pretty well set up, but this is just a little bit square. You know, I set it in here and wind it around, and it well, come on, see it in there good. You know, sometimes you roll things around and it changes. Well, you can see this is actually pretty stable. But with let's see what this other one, This is the last one I've got to trim down. I guess I've got it actually set up really good over there. Usually it'll wander like, 2 or 3 thousandths because there's such a bevel. Yeah, almost could have gotten away without doing these, but figure why not. So either that or I already hit this one and I didn't realize it. Which is entirely possible. See, what's the length on it? Nope, it's too long. So, no, I actually cut this square. Let's see what happens here. See if it shortens up. If it doesn't, then maybe I did. Because I have had a couple come out a little ridiculously long like that. But I think they were 0.910. Gah! Oh, I dropped down to 0.907. So, wow, I actually got that nice and square for a change. Every now and then, but all it takes is a little tap or a whack or something, and yeah, it can move. So, yeah, all right. I have to do these for Elvis, and then scrounge up some for Fortune Cookie. I'm running out, and I'd like to keep each batch I send out in the same group of head stamps for consistency, but each person might get a different head stamp. Just all that, I did that. The Elvis I sent Federals for the 55 grainers, and Fortune Cookies were CCIs, but they were all Federals, all CCIs. So, and with these will be 77s, and I'll send some 55s as well, and they won't be oversized in diameter, and should be all good. All right. See ya. God bless. Okay, me from the future. Few little things. And you see, I had made up a few of these, figuring these out. There's half dozen. And I'm trimming down the one I was using. Then I found a problem with it. When they're drilled out like this, the spring-loaded ball in here will actually push against the casing, even if it's in a bit. I thought I had enough clearance. Then I realized sometimes it would just work out of that friction fit. So I went back to, well, I made 3 of them. Yeah, that light. Come on. There we go. 2 of them with the base on, and then one of them actually de-rimmed the 22 Win Mag and then soldered it in. And this is the one I've switched to, actually. I think it grips just a little bit better than these for some reason. Don't understand why. But this prevents the ball, either way, from pushing on the casing. So it's working out better. Little stuff you learn as you go along. Think something's awesome till you find out it's not. And like I've annotated in the video, I guess I got a little excited and I forgot to chamfer the cases because, well, let's see. See if I can find some. You know how it is when you do necks. There's always some junk on the inside, some flashing, some burring, and it's just enough to make it smaller than than the pilot. Take that out, and they slide right on, no problem. I mean, before, yeah, there'd be a little pressure. It's like 1 to 2 thousandths difference. Where, well, yeah, that was my idiocracy. And the thing is, what gets me is before I did that, I checked one, found that the pilot was smaller, and then tried another, and it wasn't. And I don't know why it didn't click in my head. Hey, look and see if it's gunked up with debris. Who knows what hour of the night it was? Good thing I've been clean and sober for decades. And that'd be a whole nother problem. Let's see. Well, that's pretty much it. Right now, well, like I said, the future. I'm working on fortune cookies. Elvis should already have his. I know Kenny's got his. And it's working out. So, what I'd really like is a pinch trim, but they're not cheap. There were a couple guys on Cast Bullets who offered them, but they haven't been around for a while, and I haven't been able to find out any information. And Corbin's is ridiculously expensive. But downside to those is they're kind of easy to damage. Because you put it in the press and you got the top with a cutting edge, and then a flared piece that pushes it up in, and once it gets up there, it cuts it evenly with pressure. But if it's too close, it'll chip. I guess Corbin's is it doesn't totally cut it the way you're supposed to set it, so it's a little more work, but it's quicker than this, probably more accurate. But like I said, even the guys on Cast Bullets, the ones that were offering, they were a couple $100, and they were quite a bit less than the Corbin one. So yeah, work with what you got is where I'm at. I'm working with what I got. And it's working. So it just takes a little longer. Yeah, just a little update. These are the ones made for fortune cookie, and they're probably the finest 77 grainers I've produced yet. Let's see. Yeah. I mean, not all of them are quite as good as the rest. There's a couple that are like, but they're still not bad. Let's grab some random ones. Yeah, I'm making some progress. And I think part of it could be square in the mouth. The other thing is keeping everything warm. I throw the dyes in the heating pad, and I set the heating pad on top of while I'm working with everything, I leave it in the core shaker, and I set that on top and let it all warm through, and it seems to make a bit of a difference. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. Let everything warm up. Well, I let the dies warm up. I don't warm up the cores at first. I just, run those through. Warm die, big difference. Um, Less of that foil happening. They go through easy. And every now and then you lube one. That really lubes the bleed hole. Um, that's where that makes the biggest difference. After that, warm it up. I seat the cores. I put them in there. I put everything on top, heating pad on top, and let them warm through. So every time I'm working the lead with the brass, they're warm. The dies are warm. Do that, let them warm up, then form the points, and they're done. And as you can see, I don't know if Kenny's gonna show you his probably the worst, and he's getting good results. I sent some to Elvis. His are a little better because his have the squaring of the mouth, which Kenny's didn't. Like I said, I didn't think of that till after I sent his. And these are just that little bit better. So that's progressing. And practice makes perfect and all that kind of stuff. All right, just thought I'd let you know, give you a little update. Fortune Cookie should have these before this comes out. I should get them out this week. These, like Kenny's and Elvis's, 77 grainers. I did all by hand. 55 grains. I just did what I call bulk style in the core shaker. Shaking the brass, then shake the cores. They randomly fall, so there's a little more variance. These are hand matched. They're not all perfectly 77 grain, but they're pretty close. They're well within tolerances. And should be linked below in the description on all my videos to Corbin's 9th edition book. It's got some interesting information, and there's another link to a page on his site. If you scroll down to I don't know, it's a quarter of the way, a third of the way, it's about weight, and you'll see what a percentage difference in the variance, how it should affect accuracy. And really, if I'm going 0.5% either way of my target, I'm giving it a 1% in reality, even though it's typically tighter than that. But they're saying, 5% is still decent, and that's all, 10 times looser tolerances. So, I figure I'm doing pretty good here. All right, well, have a good one. Happy shooting. See you. Bye. God bless.